Christensen, Jared Rennick, Alex Antic. They're the people to put ahead of the Labor Party drones. That's why I say Liberals first.
Brought my old tripod today because it goes taller than
Last.
the metal one.
First amongst the last. Thank you very much.
Better.
So,
If you think
put
you
the
can't change the
minors
world,
first,
it just means you're not
the
one of
majors
those
last.
that will.
Because our only antidote for this disease of fear and control, is a change to that building. Who goes into that building? Right, who runs this country? What's that bloody well doing it? We've had too much of this shit. Vote the minors first, majors last, look after the country and do our job as voters. And stay together, unite. Unite, unite, unite. Thank you very much for coming.
All right, come on, louder than that. Good work, good work. All right, next I'm going to call up Senator Jared Rennick. Please come up. Senator, there he's just taking a photo. He's ready to go. Put your hands together, guys, for also one man who's been working very hard for us, Senator Jared Rennick. Thank you.
Hi guys, it's great to be here today, and can I thank you all very much for coming here today and giving up your time and effort. I apologise for the fact that you have to do this. You should be out there living your life freely as a free person, not worrying about what your government is doing and not living in fear of your government. The destruction of civil liberties over the last few years is intolerable, and I will continue, and I'm not sure if George Christensen's still here, he's had to run up back to the house. But we will continue, as well as Malcolm, as well as Alex, Pauline and everyone else, we will continue to fight to see the end of these mandates, to fight to stop the discrimination and to make sure those people who have been injured by the vaccines get the proper support that they need. Because they have been very badly let down by the government, who said these vaccines were safe and effective, and they're not. Now, I could sit here all day and talk to you about the science, but I'll finish with this. Is that to date there's been 116,000 reported vaccine injuries. That is more than all the other drugs reported to the TGA since 1971 in Australia. Right? That in itself is a red flag, and that is in itself why people should have the right to say no. I mean, they should have the...
About Senate voting, we're always focused on the House of Reps. The Senate, you can vote above the line or below the line. Below the line, you vote for individual candidates. Above the line, you vote for parties. The simplest way of voting is above the line, 1 to 6. You only need to put 6. You don't have to number all the boxes. 1 to 6. So here's what I'm going to do. One Nation 1. Then IMOP, Informed Medical Options Party. Cadres Australia Party. Liberal Democrat Party. United Australia Party. Up the top. That's taken up all 6. There's another one. I've got to check you out before I do that. Shooters, fishers, farmers. So all you need to do is put 1 to 6. You don't even have to mention these mongrels. Remember that. Senate, above the line, only have to mention 6. And good luck. Who's going to vote at the election? Everyone.
All right, okay, guys. Next, I would like to call up very special guests. They're also taking photos. So Lumpa and also the Tribal Sovereign Council. They're going to come up and speak to us. They do then have to get a bus out of Canberra, but they're just having a quick photo. Very special moment here, guys. Now, apparently there's a group of marchers coming from Glebe Park as well, and they've just been held up, but we are going to be joined by a march, a rally, which we had no idea about, but that's fantastic that people can organise themselves to march. So they will be coming. They've just been held up by a blockade, but that's okay. They're getting through it, and they will be here very soon. Well done. All right, Lumpa, can I please have you up on the stage? All right, guys, big clap, please. Big round of applause. Let's go.
G'day everyone. These men behind me here on the stage are your law. Okay? These men represent proper, real law, not statutes on paper that can be changed at a moment's whim to protect the pedophiles in the parliament. Okay? Part of what I'm here for is today just to give you a bit of an outline on what's really going on in the building behind us. If we go back in time a bit to about 1788, there was a boat arrived in Sydney, and Arthur Phillip got off the boat and stuck his toe in the sand and immediately subjected himself to the law of the tribes. And from there he walked up the beach and he stuck a rag on a stick in the ground and apparently made some claim for some bloke that lived in London. Now, you guys know your history really well, but how many of you people think that there was a Union Jack that he stuck in the ground? Because it wasn't. It was the Queen Anne of Scotland or the Knights of Malta flag. So if you know what the Knights of Malta are about, they'll give you some idea what's really going on here. And I notice there's a lot of people here today wandering around with the red and the blue flags. That piece of shit that's in the corner of that flag is the Union Jack, the Union of Jacob. It represents three Hebrew tribal flags. And if you're worried about standing under the Jews and what they represent, that's what you're standing under when you carry that flag. Okay? We do not come under flag law. We do not come under the Admiralty jurisdiction. We're not subject to any ensign of any colour. On this land, the only law that is law is the law that these men carry and the law that their women carry. Okay? And I might also add that the women's law is the higher law. Don't let it go to your head. Don't let it go to your head. Huh? Yeah, so just get back to the story about their fiction. So when Arthur Phillip arrived, his duty was to enter a discourse with the tribes, secure some land, pay for it, wait till it was vacated, and then move on. But from day one, they breached their own rules. I've written to every Attorney General on this continent, Commonwealth, State and Territorial. They all say the same thing. That when Arthur Phillip stuck the rag on a stick in the ground, he claimed radical title and sovereignty over this continent for his king. Problem I've got with this is, and I'll just mention two facts that demonstrate the 500 or so that I've got. Number one, 16th of July 1796, 8 years after they claimed to have taken sovereignty. The Judge Advocate General of the First Fleet, Captain David Collins, had a conversation with Bennelong, and he recorded in his journal how Bennelong explained to him to that date the tribal people maintained our hereditary title over our land. Yep. And it was recorded in their own journal that was the case. 23rd of February 1836, King William IV issued a letters patent for the province of South Australia. In the second last paragraph, he made it clear that the settlers were not to interfere with the native people's peaceful enjoyment of their own estates. Pretty clear they hadn't taken sovereignty to that date. Then what happened was in 1875, Queen Victoria amended one of her acts, and in section 6 of that amendment, she made it clear that the only jurisdiction that the settlers could have here was over themselves, not over the tribal people. And in section 7 of that amendment, under the title of Rights of the Tribes, she said very clearly that the Crown was not allowed to extend or construe to extend sovereignty or dominion into the Pacific Islands and the other places, being the Australasian colonies. And that such sovereignty was to remain with the chiefs and the rulers and the peoples of the tribes. Now, there's a set of rules that govern the operation of the Westminster Parliaments. They're Halsbury's rules. If you go to the contemporaneous version when all this shit was going down, because this is the period of time where all the confusion comes from. You all talk about the Constitution and the flags, and I'm not sure you've had this bit of history taught to you at school. What happened was in 1900, the British created an Act called 63 and 64 Victoria, Chapter 12, an Act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia, 1900 UK. Section 9 of that Act is what you refer to as your constitution. In section 51.26 of that, because of Halsbury's rules, they were not allowed to derogate from previous law. And previous law said that they could not make laws for us. They could not include us in their jurisdiction. So their constitution said, at section 51.26, that they could not make laws for us. And at section 127, pardon me, because they could not take our sovereignty, they were instructed that they could not count us as part of their population. Now, in 1967, there was a referendum of the Australian citizens, where the Australian citizens decided that they would give us the option to become Australian citizens. So they amended 51.26 to remove the part that said they could not make laws for us. And they repealed in its entirety section 127 that said they couldn't count us as part of their population. But the problem with that was they could remove the two negative elements or statements about us, but they could not make a positive statement that they can make laws and they can count us because we did not give them that right. The one thing they haven't told you is that we remain the sovereigns on this country. According to Halsbury's rules, edition 3, page 337, paragraph 559, part 12 and 12.1. Part 12 says that once they make a law in the British Parliament, they're not allowed to derogate from that law or its intention. They can only amend the law to improve it. Or if they make a new law, it must also carry the weight of the previous law. And section 12.1 says that they can usurp our sovereignty and we cannot usurp theirs. Now, given that they were not able to usurp our sovereignty and their constitution clearly defines the fact that they don't have a right to make laws for us and they don't have a right to count us as part of their population unless we choose to become indigenous, which comes from the Latin indigena, which means a naturalised citizen of the realm. That's where the term indigenous comes from. That's why it wasn't widely used until after the 1967 referendum. But the thing that we pointed out to the Parliament and to the Queen and the UN and everyone else in 2010, our tribal council came together and we issued a statement to the world and we pointed out to the world that given that we have not acquiesced our sovereignty and given that the Crown has never had the authority to usurp that sovereignty and given that their own laws and legal instruments demonstrate they do not have sovereignty here, and given that we are not recognised in their constitution, we don't recognise their constitution. Well, 6 weeks later, Julia Gillard came out and she said, we need to have a Commonwealth referendum to amend the constitution to bring these people under our law. Tony Abbott said at the time, we need to do now what we didn't do 100 or 200 years ago. We need to bring these people under our law by amending our constitution. You can amend your constitution as much as you want. It doesn't interfere with the law that these people carry. It doesn't interfere with our law. It doesn't interfere with the law of this land, because that's the law of that land. Now, the fact remains this. This Parliament behind us, and that old Parliament down there, are representative of nothing but the most monumental fraud ever pulled on mankind. Nothing but fraud. We know from their own historical documents, they do not own this land. That's why when you buy a lot in a DP or the location of title in a deposited plan, you get property rights over the mark on the map, which is why you're called a land holder and not a land owner, because the Crown can't sell you what it doesn't own. And if you're wondering why they're starting to pull back all the paper titles and burn them, that's because those paper titles are evidence of their fraud. What our intention is to demonstrate to you people that we are the true sovereigns, that you do live on our country, but we cannot do for you what we intend to do for you until you stand with us. We know for a fact that the British do not have a claim on this soil. Any claim that they have to sovereignty here is laughable. The the fact is that the parliament behind us, the people that populate that parliament, they know fully well that that's just smoke and mirrors. And that doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter whether they're a political animal, a party political animal, or an independent. They all know. They know that the symbolism on the front of this building belongs to our people. They are our symbols. They don't belong to the UK's crown. They don't belong to a corporation. They have no right to use them. They have no right to masquerade as governance on this continent. But at the end of the day, if we're going to be truthful with each other, we cannot survive, our people and our culture and our law cannot survive on this continent without you guys. And you've just found out that you cannot survive on this continent without us. Okay? We want all Australians to stand together with us to support our law, because all they have at the moment is their statutes. The Queen was removed from this continent, as we know, in 1973. Since then until now, all that's been in place is an interim, transitional administration. And these arse wipes in the building behind us know it. Okay? Pardon my French, I'm trying really hard not to swear. Oh no, you don't want to go there. And our position is that all we want to do is for the truth to be told. I know there's a lot of Christians and other religions out here, and you guys always say, the truth shall set you free. Fucking listen to yourself, okay? The truth will set you free, okay? None of your churches, okay? Nothing. None of your politicians are going to set you free. The word politician means someone who enters public life for private benefit, okay? Never forget that, okay? They've lied to you with every word they use. They called us Indigenous, but didn't tell you what it meant. You know? They called us native. They tell us that in order to claim native title, we have to admit that we're traditional owners. But the word traditional comes from the Latin traditio, which means someone who's dealing in land title or selling land. So a traditional owner is someone who's sold it. And then to get native title, the word native comes from the Latin nativus, which means someone born in a condition of slavery or servitude. So when you call yourself the nation of Australia, just be wary of what you're calling yourself, eh? They've misled us at school, they've misled us in the streets, they've misled us in the parliaments, and sorry to say, they've misled us in the churches. We owe ourselves the truth. And once we accept that, we can then start showing that to everyone else. But the one truth on this continent, the one truth on this continent that you cannot get around is that these people behind me and the law they carry is the only true law that you need to know about. And we are one. Don't listen to any more of their bullshit. They've been lying to you. You need to go and research. Have a look at the words they use. You know, people say to me, oh, you're Australian. I am not Australian. I am not one of the Queen of England's subjects. I am not one of her slaves. I am not Australian. I'm Gugu the Taro. Simple as that. That's the country I come from. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having us here, everybody. It's an honour to come down with these elders. We've actually driven over 6,000 kilometres to be here, and it's an honour to be here with you. So I just want to, I don't speak for me. I speak for all these members who are representatives of our tribal council. Now, this is not one tribe. This is actually covering from Lakatanapi and Tiwi Island to Latakia, Darwin, to West Arnhem Land, to East Arnhem Land, down to Borroloola, down to Tennant Creek, Warramungu, down to Aranda Country in Alice Springs, out to Kintor, Western Desert, down to Warracoona, down to Dock River, 400 k's south, 400 k's shy of Perth. The contingent we have here covers close to a half of this continent, and the elders that I have here that I speak for and on behalf of also speak on behalf of a large portion of the central region and a lot of the coastal regions. So we have a large representation here for tribal councils across the country. So I just want to start by saying we're not going to get a remedy in this thing, all right? No offence to the political parties. I respect the fact that we do have some honourable people who are in this political system that are standing against this tyranny, and I congratulate them, and I'm grateful to them. The fear and the problem that we have is they're operating in a fictitious corporate entity that has no validity here. It has no standing here. It's based on fraud and treason, and it's controlled and run by multinational corporations that fund the whole thing. Now, years ago, I was going to get into politics because I'm just a youth worker. I've been healing kids for the last 25 years. When I started seeing the abuse of the children in the system and complaining about that and realised the system won't stand up for their own accountability, but rather they'll shut us down, that's when I realised that I had to step out and fight for the children. So I'm not in this for the politics. I'm not in this for ego. I'm in this for the children. And let's be realistic. We're all focusing on this sideshow that they've created for us, this genocidal attempt. But the real pandemic is being run by the sick people operating this very system. Okay? Not just here, but planetary. I thought it was a local problem in Darwin. Then I researched and found out it was a national problem. And then the further I went, I found out it was a global problem. And if we cannot stand up for the children and take down this criminal entity that is harming and abusing the children, to have 29 suppression orders, and we know who's in one of them, and nothing's being done, and everybody's focusing on this, and we're talking about political parties and votes and all that, no one's talking about the children. Okay? The only political person talking about the children is Ricardo Bossi. All right? And that's why I stand with him for the kids. Now, I'm not taking sides, right? Because if any of you other political guys were talking about children, I'd pay you the same respect. But nobody's talking about the kids, right? So let's stop hiding from the real pandemic, what's going on here in Planetary, because the sick corporate entities that are controlling this very corporation called a government are the very people who are manipulating and allowing for the abuse of children and the murder of children here in Planetary, and we've got to stop that shit now. Now we talk about a solution, all right? We keep yelling. We keep yelling at this satanic building. We keep yelling at their satanic corporate worshippers, all right? It doesn't do anything. We've been yelling for 233 years. I'm preparing you. You can do this for another 233 years, and they're going to laugh at us, all right? So now it's time for a solution. We've come here to provide a solution. We've been looking at this problem for many, many years and looking at what is our most strongest lawful standing that we can do this peacefully. Because, as Sun Tzu says, the greatest victory is the one in which blood is not shed. All right? And they are killing us through this bioweapon. They are killing us through the water and the attacks on us through the food and everything else. They are trying to depopulate us while they're trying to wipe out most of this population. The Deagle military website stated very clearly by 2025, the Australian population will be down to 9 million. Yep. Right? That's how. Right? That's genocide. The fact that they hit everyone here with these military-grade weapons, right? That shows their intent on us. The fact that they're not calling out the people in their own system that are doing what they're doing to the children, that shows their intent. So it leaves us one option. We can play their political game within this corporate structure and be bouncing around here in 10 years' time hoping we're alive, or we can put a solution on the table, and that's what we're here for. Because at the end of the day, like I said to Rod Cullerton, right, there's no point bringing back a constitution in 2022, right, that had no validity in 1788, that was invalid from 1973 when the Crown left anyway. So no constitution is going to save us. No political agenda is going to save us. I'll tell you what, the only thing that's going to save us is us and you standing together as one and walking from this fraudulent system. Now what we're proposing is this. if you actually look at the US military document on the law of war and occupation, it states very, very clearly in that. To all the common law groups out there, you're correct. Your argument's right, and you're standing with the truth. To all the natural law people out there, 100% correct. To the sovereign tribal law, 100% correct. But they ignore us because they can. It's like an ex-judge barrister said to me, all the judges around the country have met in relation to this matter, and we've all been told the same thing, just ignore you. And my response to him was, as you know, there's no excuse, ignorance is no excuse in law. And when the time comes for us to hunt you down, don't you cry, right? Because what they're doing to us through the political system, the legal system, all right, under this corporate statutes, under that US military document, last amended in 2019, it states very clear, statute overrides common law, and they have the guns. So no matter how much we speak the truth, no matter what papers we put in front of them, they're going to ignore it because they can and they are. That's a fact, right? Because we've been banging it out with them for 233 years, and they just ignore us. Now, the same document states very, very clearly, the only thing that can override statute is the returning sovereign. Yeah. That's the only thing that can override it. So, to do it in a peaceful manner, we have to find a healthy way forward. I'm going to read out a statement that we've served on every embassy here. Okay, and we've made this statement publicly to the world, and we do have sovereigns from other nations that have been sending us messages and saying, thank you for standing up, we now see you. So this is our time to move and walk free and free you with us. Because if we walk, we don't have to ask. We have no contract, we have no treaty, we have no agreement. We do not have to stay under their statutes, and we're walking. The problem we got is we don't want to leave all your 25 million beautiful people behind, stuck under this sickness, right? When we have the right to afford you a legitimate system. Now, we're not bringing you under our law. We're not bringing you into our tribes, right? What we're saying is this. Over here, you have a fictitious corporate entity that has no standing here. Over here, you have the sovereigns that want to afford the Australian people an opportunity to set up a governance structure, all right? A constitution that we all work on together, a legal system that works on natural law combined with tribal law, and a fair system that you control, because right now, no matter what we vote for, right, it ain't going to change. We can get 100 of these politicians from all the parties, we can get 100 of them into the parliament, and it ain't going to change, right? Because years ago, I had a sister who was in federal seat, and I was going to jump in, and I said, how are you going there? She said, we could have 100 of me and you in here, and we won't even make a difference. It is so deeply entrenched, right? And this is going back to globalists that control every puppet in there, right? And they're out to get us. So what we are saying is we are walking, but we want to afford you the opportunity to walk with us, to work together to establish a governance structure that you own the people that you control, a constitution that you develop, all right? We don't have to, this is not a long process. We have the technology. We can have daily referendums on our phone with all the members. You develop the constitution, you develop the government, you develop what is going to be best to serve you, because a government is supposed to serve the people, and this corporate fictitious thing is selling us out, killing us off, while it's sold this land to foreign corporations when it doesn't have the right to. And I assure you, all your home loans and everything else, don't worry about us kicking you out, because we're not going to. They've already taken it, all right? They've stripped it. They're going to take your bank, your money, your savings, your super. It's already been done. You just got to read the secret banker's manual. All right, and everything they're doing, they have the right to do, and they're taking all your wealth, including your titles, your land titles. Here's what we're saying. Now, for all the people out there who say if the tribal people take it back, they're going to kick us out. It's actually the opposite, right? What we're saying is the banks can go, you enjoy your home, right, and the rest we work out later. In terms of looking after each other, the whole planet is moving to resource-backed currencies. Well, we know who owns the resources, and ain't these criminals stealing it and flogging it off to the international guys. The sovereigns own the resources, but we don't have to harm the land. We don't have to dig it up. We leave the resources there. We can create a currency for all of us to work together and create prosperity through healthy industries. Industries like hemp, medical marijuana, organic food, natural medicines, tribal medicines. There is not enough people here. There is not enough people here to supply a fifth of Asia in those industries. So if you're worried about money and employment and all the above, we'll create healthy industries together under a governance structure that we all own. That's what we're proposing to the people, is a real solution to walk from this shit to something healthy and create a prosperous future for all these little ones, because that's what we've got to do it for. Us adults, we know, we can read. These little ones don't know. We have an opportunity here to walk together. We've come here with an extended hand to invite you to walk together as one people, one country, one spirit, and take back this country, secure ourselves for the future, and ensure that nobody is in poverty, nobody is suffering, nobody is in anguish. And we have more than enough wealth and resources and everything we hear on this continent to look after every one of us plus more. So I'm going to read out the returning sovereign statement, and this is a statement to the world. And this has been served on all the embassies here. Bear with me. Declaration of the returning sovereign. I speak on behalf of the legitimate bloodline connection to country of all tribal nations across these terrains. Everything comes from Jaka, to us who gives us song, stories, dance, ceremony. That is within our tribal boundaries. And the bloodline is the boss and guardian who protects the sacred terrain within your tribal boundary. Each bloodline story connects to the next tribe, which traverses this continent and the world. Jaka is our creator, the superior being. Jaka operates from the physical and the spiritual world and extends through the universe. We stand before you as the ordinary executives, Homo sapiens with the absolute bloodline connection to country on our terrain and the irrefutable heads of states and our many joint and several terrains. The time has come for the Crown's military government as belligerent occupiers to cease and desist in their abuse and misrepresentation of the legality of their position on our sovereign terrain. Your belligerent occupation is not, and as never was meant to be, mistaken for the usurpation of our legitimate sovereignty. Your military occupation of our terrain does not transfer sovereignty to the occupier. Your head of state, the Queen of the UK Parliament, withdrew her claim to sovereignty in 1973 when the decolonisation process began in accord with UN Resolution 2625/25 of the 24th of October 1970. Since that time, the interim corporation administration that was left in place to transition control back to the legitimate sovereigns has attempted to usurp that sovereignty by fraudulently claiming parliamentary sovereignty. A fraudulent act to which the Queen has now been attached by way of her signature, and in so doing so she has committed high treason against her own Parliament. Further, it is offensive to us as the legitimate sovereigns that the belligerent occupiers are nothing more than mere corporate entities that have no jurisdiction or authority over the tribal sovereigns of these lands, nor our terrains. We have no desire nor need to prolong what both the prophecies of our ancient ones informed us, and the truth dictates in true and just. We hereby give notice to the world and the universe that we, the legitimate sovereigns, require that the Queen of the UK Parliament commit now to moving forward peaceably and respectfully without any form of violence or hostility towards a treaty of peace between herself and her parliaments and us as the only true and legitimate sovereigns here. There will be much to do in way of agreement as to liabilities and reparations. Nonetheless, there is no need for hostility or violence, as the world knows the truth that we, the tribes, have never surrendered to the Crown, nor any corporation as sovereigns, and have at all times clearly and in accord with our law stated both our sovereign status and reiterated our intentions to retake our terrain and reign over our realms as the true and only legitimate sovereigns. We, the original sovereigns of these terrains, never left, but now we have returned to govern ourselves and our terrain and return our realm and all upon it, and this is our duty and responsibility as the sovereigns. That time is now upon us, and we hereby give notice that we have, by way of this notice, entered peace treaty discussions with our occupier to the end that the complete return of us as this land's true and only legitimate sovereigns be the outcome as quickly and respectfully as possible. The time has come for the Crown's tyrannical belligerent occupiers to stand down. It is time for the fraud and the deception to be swept aside, and for honesty, morals and integrity to be brought to bear in respect of the governance of these terrains. A level of honesty and morals and integrity that your current belligerent occupying administrative representatives fail to possess. We do not consent to their paper jurisdiction of entrapment, enslavement and fraud. We remain in our realm of honour, integrity, true law and respect, a law that was handed to us by nature, passed through us by our ancestors who bestowed upon us the responsibility of the protectors of the realm. We hereby declare to the world that the belligerent occupiers must stand down, and that the original sovereigns of these terrains have returned to bring peace, harmony to all upon our terrain and across the planet. Now, under our law, it's very simple. Under our law, it's very simple. If it's a law that's good for the people and good for the land, it's a good law. Okay? We intend to work with you to develop a healthy system based on that respect. There are models all over the world where we have sovereigns and Westminster systems
It's okay, I don't care about them.
married up together and working really, really well. So we have the ability and we have the knowledge,
not
the skills, and the
appropriate,
intelligence
because
amongst
otherwise they
our
will.
communities to make this happen real quick. I'm going to bring forward my
Promoting the
brother
nonsense that they
because I
are,
keep talking
which
about
just
our
makes
law and the
everyone look
land,
like a joke.
and I'm going to get him to explain to you in language a few things, and then I'm going to translate for you.
Hello, my name is Brian Young. I come from Alice Springs. Alice Springs. Alice, who the fuck is Alice? It's called Ambandwa. Aboriginal name Ambandwa. Here when I try to put it right, when I'm willing to put it right, Ranter. Which you can get it in that until the Kaja map in Gurgala Witcher. Me no longer in the lucky of Nimba in Gurgala. You know, today, and when the guy in Gurgala want to put it in the left, we don't get the one. But Nimba Cornell Landam. Ranter woman, when the winner I'll bring up Garamana. Today, I don't know the guy. Oh, you want to pull it around that. Why would I never run the Lanky Land? Nanny World. Thank you.
Hold on. What my brother just explained to you is that our law has always been here. Our law comes from nature. Our law stands under this, the Seven Sisters. The Seven Sisters constellation you see, that's our law, okay? We stand under that mother's law, the women's law, right? The land and the law has always been here since creation. The law traverses the entire continent. And our language and our law comes from nature. We talk about natural law, right? Common law and all these laws that came a lot after all came to learn from us. When my father, Jalu Guruwiwi, plays the North Wind song, that's when the Macassans came down and traded with us. When he plays the West Wind song, that's when the Egyptians and people from the Middle East came and traded with us. The whole planet traded with us, well before the English arrived. The Chinese, the ancient Chinese dynasties have been trading for us for over 600 years. We have been here holding law and spirituality for the whole planet for a long time. Now, my tribal blood is my closest connection to what my Scottish and Irish ancestors once were, on the land, with law, from the land. That was lost in those bloodlines for me a long time ago. But my tribal blood still sings the song, still speaks the tongue, still holds the law. And that law, under our women and the Seven Sisters, traverses this entire continent. It's all one law. It's one people. And I want to share something really special with you. You see this red band? And you see this white band? They never come together. They never come together. But we know how desperate our time is. We know how important this is to change our thinking and to stand together. And for the first time, people, you are witnessing the white band and the red band standing together. Now, if we can break protocol and bring our tribes together, the male and the female, we can do it. All we need to do is unite. That's what they're most scared of. Can I just ask something? Can everyone look around at all these flags? Just look around all these flags. Now just look at them. Okay? They all go back to some sort of admiralty connection. They all go back to some corporate connection. Right? Even our Aboriginal flag. Right? It's corporate. Right? I just want to ask a favour. Could everybody holding a flag please put them down? Just put them down. Please, just put them down for 1 second. Including that flag, our flag. Can you put it down? Well, not our flag. That's the corporate flag now. Put all the flags down, please, just for 1 second. Now I want everyone to look around. Now look around. All right? That's what they're scared of. Right? When we stand as one, under one flag that we can create together, when we stand as one under one people and we unite together, they are powerless. You are the commodity. You are the resource. You are the power. They're relying on us playing their game in their fictitious corporate realm, voting for corporate agents that are serving foreign powers. That's what they rely on. The more we give that, I'm not saying you can do your political thing, do whatever you choose. But what I'm saying is this. For me, a no vote means we're stepping over here. Why are we even playing their political game? That's right. Why are we even doing what the globalists have done? You know, we got Liberal, Labor and all these things. They're two wings of the same bird, okay? There's one corporate entity. The fiction that we have this party and that party. Even here, we have the different party groups, all right? Just that old fiction. The political party we're talking about developing with yous, that you'll develop, right, gets rid of the political parties and comes respectfully and represents you, as opposed to collusion and working out what me and him can get together from him to do you over. Because that's what happens in here. And no one in there is there for yous. There's some honourable people, don't get me wrong, all right? But their hands are tied. They can only do so much. So we have two options. We stay playing this corporate game under this fictitious thing that has no validity here, or we work together and we step to somewhere to create something prosperous for all of us that you control and you own, and together we can unite this country. I heard a statement years ago that a country is not a nation until its people are walking in unison. All right? We've never walked in unison. We've been divided by politics, okay, by race, by religion, by culture, by status, by sport, you name it, even the male and female. And now we've been divided by a bioweapon, all right? Not only killing our families, no, the very fact that they are allowing for this to happen here, and we're going to turn around and say, hey, oh look, it's all over now, it's good, we still like you can run our shit. Seriously? You're going to let somebody continue to run your life that's tried to kill your children? We're going to let people continue to run our lives that are abusing, trafficking, murdering, raping and torturing children? No! I'll die before I leave my grandkids in a system like that. Okay? And that's why we're doing this. We're not doing this because we choose to. We're doing it because we have to. And we're doing it for the babies and the children that cannot speak, that cannot read, that do not understand. Because when we unite, that's what they're scared of. Right? I've been attacked. The attacks that are going on with me behind the scenes is massive. And they're trying to bring me down. All right? And I'll tell you why. Because they're scared of this. All right? Because I ain't black and I ain't white. I got all of it in me. I'm human. Right? I'm Lucha, I'm Wambaya to this Munda. But at the end of the day, we're all spiritual beings. Right? Of this earth. We are all of this law. There are 7 DNAs. Strands. Right? Asia to Europe holds 1 to 3. The Africans came in at 4 and then they tested our mob from the desert who held all 7 strands. That makes us not only the oldest race, but guess what? We birthed you. Right? That makes our law your law. That makes our natural law your law. These guys are not only attacking us, they're breaking our law. They're breaking your law. Natural law of the land. Universal law. Do no harm. So we've come here today to tell you that we have returned. We are telling the world that we have returned. We are taking back control of our realms. And we invite all you beautiful people to come and stand with the original sovereign people of this continent. Unite with us. And together let's create something beautiful that will ensure a healthy future for not only us, but for the generations to come. And as the ancestors, that's our responsibility. Because in many years to come, when we're all gone, the children of that time will say, where were they and what did they do? Were they sitting down or were they standing? I want everyone to stand. Stand up. Stand up, please. Are you willing to do it for the children? Yes! Are you willing to do it for each other? Yes! Then we invite you to stand with us the sovereigns of this land and create a beautiful future together as one people, one country, one spirit. Yep. Okay, look, we have to go. We've got a long trip to go. We'd love to stay and hang with you all. We've been here for a few days. It took us 6,000 k's to get here. It's going to take us 6,000 k's to get home. And we've got a lot of people to drop across the country. But we've already been sharing this journey and the unity and the love that we've received from everybody on this trip. And we're grateful. The respect that we've been shown, the messages have already gone back through the whole Central Desert region. Okay? So we're calling another gathering. And look, seriously, people, I hope by the time we get together for this, I really, really do hope it's going to be a celebration because we're all free. But in June, in June, we're calling a gathering to the Central Desert. We're inviting all sovereigns of the planet to attend. We've already been receiving messages from sovereigns around the planet saying, we've been waiting for you to stand up. We can see you. Thank you. And they're seeing us and we see them. Come here, because I tell you why. The English invaded 2/3 of the planet, and 2/3 of that planet was tribal sovereign nations of the planet. Now we're inviting them all to come because their story is our story. Our truth is their truth, right? Our position is the same as theirs. So we're inviting them to come and stand and collectively stand to take back control of this planet from these sick globalists who don't care about you, don't care about us. So we're inviting them, and we invite you to come and join us in the centre in June, because it's about time that we unite as one people, take it all back, end this tyranny, and free us all. Thank you, people.
We are one.
I heard it on the radio, and I saw it on the television. Back in 1988, all those talking politicians. What's our easy, what's our cheap? Much cheaper than our priceless land. But promises can disappear, just like Jesus said. Free me, yeah. Free me now. Free me, yeah. Free me now. This land was never given up. This land was never bought and sold. The planting of the Union Jack never changed us. Now two rivers run their cross, separated for so long. I'm dreaming of a brighter day when our waters will be one. Come on, free, yeah, free, free, yeah, free now, free, yeah, free now, free, yeah, free now. But promises can disappear. your hands together, guys. One louder than that. Wasn't that something special? Louder. Now, guys, it's my understanding that also there's another convoy that's arriving and that they were just conveniently stopped on the bridge for an RBT at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday morning for an RBT, but they've managed to make their way across. All right, so there are more people coming. So please just, it's going to be a long day. I hope you guys are here for the long haul, well, as long as we can, actually.
All right, Mob. Anyone who knows me as Sideshow, I need your help right now. They are putting a publicity journalist stunt on the other side of the bridge right now, while this goes on as charade. They waited till the black fellas were up there, so we'd have to wait till the end. Now, I'm asking for everyone who has been holding ground with me here today and for the last 3 months to march with me and look out for our brothers and sisters having their windows smashed on the other side of the bridge. They don't care about us! They don't care about us!
There once was a jolly swag, camped by the billabong. Under the shadow
They're on their way, they're on their way.
of a tree, and he sang as he watched and waited till
10 minutes, I'll be here. Thank you. All right, good. So in 10 minutes, looks like they'll be here. Thank you. All right, guys, I'd like to now welcome our next guest speaker. All right, you've all heard him speak before, and he's one of the few that has been speaking up about this for the last 2 years or when this first started. So if you can please put your hands together for Craig Kelly.
Thanks, Matt. And thank you to everyone for coming today. Every single person here represents another 1,000 that couldn't make it today. Now today is known as Budget Day. When the government behind me, the Treasurer and the Prime Minister will boast about what a great job they are doing. But we know that they have run up over $1 trillion worth of debt. $1 trillion is a number that we can't even contemplate. Remember, $1 trillion is a million millions. $1 trillion is 1,000 billion dollars. And they have run that debt up for many reasons. Spenders on this vaccine, on all these drugs that are useless, that do no good, sir. They have wasted money on locking our nation down and denying people the access to vote. And that $1 trillion debt, if something is not done about it, it will simply mean that our kids and our grandkids have to pay higher taxes and lower government services because of the reckless and wasteful spending. Now earlier today you had Malcolm Roberts up on this stage from One Nation. Malcolm's from another party from myself, but I'll tell you what, Malcolm is a good friend, a mate and a loyal Australian. And last Tuesday, Malcolm held a joint parliamentary hearing into COVID. If you haven't seen it on the internet, please go and look at it. It was one of the hardest days of my political career. I stood in front of a mother, Raylene Gotts, whose beautiful daughter, Caitlin, was a victim of the vaccines. She had in front of us there a picture of a beautiful 20, and on the table in front of us were her ashes. Her ashes. A young girl that has been victim of the lies that have been told by people in this parliament, the lies that it was safe and effective, which we know is a lie. the lies that are being told by Pfizer, that we know that is a lie. Pfizer is a company that you cannot trust and should be prosecuted. The other people in this nation that risk being prosecuted, I will call them out. The chairman of Qantas, Mr. Alan Joyce. The chairman of Woolworths, of Westpac, and of every other large Australian company that is using blackmail and extortion to force their employees under the threat of dismissal to undergo a medical intervention. That act is an abuse of human rights. It is unethical. It is immoral. It is un-Australian. And it should be illegal. And if these CEOs are going to continue to force Australians to inject themselves with a medical substance that is now clearly not safe and is clearly not effective, well, they will come before the courts in their due time.
Lock them up! Lock them up! Lock them up!
So what I ask now of all of you here, unity is so important. There are many that want to try and divide us. That's why I call out my good friend Malcolm Roberts from the One Nation Party. That's why I'll praise my good friend John Ruddick from the Liberal Democrat Party. We want to support. We need to get together. We need to wake the Australians up. We've now got probably less than 30 days until voting starts, early voting starts in this next election. So please, get out there. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Talk to your neighbours. Talk to people in the shopping queues. We must vote the major parties out of office. And at this next election, I hope you support my party. But if you don't, please support all the other independent parties. Let's work together and let's hold this rotten parliament accountable in the years to come. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Craig. All right, thank you. All right, the next speaker we'd like to call up. You may recall last year a former nurse in South Australia. Whoever saw that viral video where she was standing outside, I think it was the Women's and Children's Hospital, and she was absolutely giving it to Channel 9. Well, here she is. We found her, former nurse, Kathy Bird from South Australia, all the way from the SA. All right, she's going to say a few words. And she's also brought up with, she'll explain anyway who everyone is. So thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Mac. What a legend Mac is, hey? Round of applause for Mac, New South Wales. He leads the teachers in this fight against this war. Are we at war, guys? Yes, we are. So I am the #1 South Australian Senate candidate for the Australian Federation Party. We are part of the CADCO Alliance. CADCO. Put it in your search bar, guys, with IMOP and GAP. Have you heard of IMOP? Have you heard of GAP? Please tell me you've heard of the Australian Federation Party. Kind of. Guess what? You have now. I am their lead Senate candidate for the party in Australia. You know my background. You know I am a true freedom activist. I want to know this. If I get in as a senator, Australia, and I'm not just talking to the freedom people, I am talking to every single Australian. I will. There's no maybes. There's no ifs. There's no possibly. I will, with my leaders, with political expertise of over 2 decades, take the government to the High Court under Section 51, 23A, no conscription. I want you to know this. Every single serving senator has the authority to take the government to the High Court. It hasn't happened. You vote me in South Australia, and trust me, we are having candidates sitting in every electorate across Australia. We do not have a billionaire backing us. This is coming out of our own pockets. This is coming from fundraising. AusFedParty.com.au. Help us, help you, get back our country. I'm the number one Senate candidate, Mr. Nick Duffield, a very, very experienced businessman from Adelaide, very well known. Originally the President of Trump and the Patriots. You may not have heard about it if you're from the eastern states. He's going to explain. He is my number 2 Senate candidate for the Australian Federation Party, and I'm going to put him on now. Before I do that, I'm going to introduce Miss Matilda Borden. She's standing in the lower house for Spence in South Australia. She is a social worker. What does that mean? She gets it. We get it. Ex-registered nurse, registered mental health nurse, social worker. These are the decent type of candidates that we are standing across Australia for. Which party? Tell me. Australian Federation Party. I can't hear you. Right, thank you. Mr. Nick Duffield. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kathy. And as you can see, every Batman needs a Robin. I put up my hand to be Robin. But number 2, I tell you what, working with someone like Kathy Byrne and the Australian Federation Party is a place that I want to be. And I know that whilst the challenges are there, we've been written off. The entire freedom movement has been written off at 14% by a news poll. Apparently, that's what they predict the non-mainstream political parties are going to gather and garnish at the next election. 14%, guys. Do we believe that? No way. We don't believe that. We've got a heck of a more out there than 14%. Anyway, the Australian Federation Party, true unity. We're now starting to see the first example of unity within the political movement. Who wants to see unity between the minor political parties? Anyone? Yeah, we want to see unity, and it's been a really tough slog. The bridge between the sovereign, the freedom, and the faith community is a hard trudge, guys. But we've been battling away at it. Mid-2020, it was the nursing home clot shot, the flu shot that got me activated. We formed a new political party in Adelaide last year in August. That political party is now merged in a true show of unity now. Trump and the Patriots come on board with a fantastic Australian Federation Party, and now we're as one. That is the first example of political a merger in this country that I can think of, where we put all the egos aside. We don't care about names. We don't care about anything. We just care about winning, guys. We want to get that 14% to 48% plus. How are we going to do it? What's the methodology? Any ideas? Who do we vote last? Greens. Who do we vote really last? Okay, there's 2 schools of thought. Here's the other problem too, guys. The freedom movement cannot agree on who to vote last. Everyone's fighting with each other, guys. Okay? There's Liberal, Labor, Green in that order. Then there's Liberal, Labor, Green, the really bad parties. I won't name them. They absolutely that completely fold up to Green to put really last. Whatever you do, just make sure you understand your preferences and vote them last. And we can win this. 14% is a load of bullshit. Excuse my French. It's not true. It's not going to be the case. Let's get on with it. Here we go, guys. Put your hands together. Here's the true patriots of Australia. They've been held up for 2 hours on the road. Come to join us now. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Let's win. All right, let's give them a big clap. Here they come, guys. They were held up for a couple of hours for a random breath test, but they're starting to make their way over. Wait till they arrive and join us.
I'm a settler, I'm a farmer's wife on a dry I'm a daughter of a digger, who's daughter of the
Too bad now.
Bossy.
This group that heard about them. They're not here, are they? Glad they turned up. Good on them. So these were the ones that were told not to come, but they still showed up. I'm going to thank them.
We'll share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australian.
Guys, put your hands together for these troopers. A lot of these guys have been here since the start of February. They've been holding the ground, holding the line for you guys. All right, give them a big clap. Come on, big guys. Thank you so much. Come down, guys. Make your way down, please, if you can. Come and join us at the front. I can see a few more showing up. How good are these legends? Let's just wait till they all get here, guys, and then we'll continue on.
Hey, true blue, don't say you've gone. Say you've knocked off for a smoker, and you'll be back later on. Hey, true blue. Hey, true blue. Give it to me straight, face to face. Are you real? Just another dying race. True blue. Is it me and you? Is it mom and dad? Is it a cockatoo? Is it standing by your mate when he's in a fight? Or will she be right? True blue, I'm asking you. Hey, true blue, can you bear the load? Will you tie it up with wire just to keep the show on the road? Hey, true blue. she'd be right.
Right, come on, speeches. Let's get on with it.
When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of a storm,
I could go for a walk, but
there's a
I'll start as soon as I do.
golden sky and the sweet silver sound of love. Walk on through the wind. Walk on
It's going to be a few
through the
minutes.
rain. For your dreams be tossed and blown.
Oops, right there. Let's come back in. There we go, that's better. Something going on over there. Who knows what? Thing is, I'll go over there and then whatever it is will resolve itself. Looks like someone's felt the need to be a bit of a dick.
Looks like they've all arrived. So guys, put your hands together again for all the marchers that were held up. A lot of them have been holding the ground here for the last 2 months. Now, well, you can probably hear their drums. We'll let them just drum away, and then we'll get a couple of them to come up and say a few words. But guys, today we don't actually have a set schedule. We don't have a set time. This all came together in the last 7 days. Now what I want to do is just take this opportunity to thank everyone that has actually showed up. Now I know that last week or a few days ago you were probably warned to stay away because of potential agitators or trouble, but I'm yet to see any. All I can see is good people here that just want to protect their rights, protect their privacy, protect their freedoms, and most importantly, protect their families and protect their children. So I don't buy into any of that alarmism or fear-mongering. All I want to do is see a united country. I want to see people come together, and that's what you guys have done. And I know it's a mighty effort, especially during the week, and especially if a lot of people had to travel a few hours to get here. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here. Now, the next person I want to actually introduce you to is a girl, I'll call her a girl or a lady, young lady, that I met last year around September in southwest Sydney. Now, who here remembers in southwest Sydney the lockdowns that the people of southwest Sydney went through, all in the name of a virus? So there were 12 locked up LGA area. So while in the southwest of Sydney, people couldn't go to the park without having a helicopter fly over their heads. Meanwhile, in the northern beaches and the Bondi, they were freely able to party on the beach. Some of us in southwest Sydney were locked up. Well, there's a young lady here with her family, about 2 or 3 of them. What they used to do every weekend is turn up to a roundabout or an intersection or a park with some placards and basically protest for our rights. And many times they were confronted by the police, you know, the usual deal, but they still stood strong. Anyway, when we were going to organise the first Reclaim the Line, on the 1st of October, it was my first protest that I was officially going to organise, undercover. I had no idea where I was going to hold it, but she scoped out a few areas because she'd been doing it for a couple of months before me, and she helped us find the very first location of Parramatta for the first Reclaim the Line on October the 1st during a lockdown. And when the cops showed up at my house the day before, because they received an anonymous tip, I said to her, gee, I didn't know this came with the deal. But anyway, she's done tremendous work. She started a group called Rise Up Sydney. You might follow her. She's got a big story to tell, and I'd like you all to please put your hands together for Jackie from Rise Up Sydney.
What's up, Sydney and Australia? Thanks to everyone that's come out today and showed up and continue to show up every single week. So, for you guys that don't know me, my name's Jackie. I'm a mother of a 6-year-old girl. I also work, and I'm about to lose my job actually, but I work as an operations manager in the child protection system. So I've dedicated my whole entire career up to about 13 years in, working with vulnerable children in the child protection system. Like Mac just said, I was living in an LGA of concern and I was mandated to get 2 jabs to just leave my area. So that was a 5-kilometre radius. And at that time, I had the double jab. Unfortunately, I had a very, very bad reaction. I, at the time, didn't know, but I was pregnant with my baby. And I went into hospital with pains about 7 days after my second Pfizer shot. Now, when I went to the hospital, I was bleeding, I was in immense pain, I was passing in and out of consciousness, and I was told that my husband wasn't allowed to be with me, and he had to leave because COVID, you couldn't be in the hospital. So I was sitting there sad, alone and scared, and I wasn't getting any attention. I was being told to just go back to bed. I was explaining to them that I knew it was the Pfizer vaccine at the time and that, I was dying. And behold, I was. It was early in the hours of the morning that I had an ultrasound. I was bleeding internally. I'd lost about 1 litre of blood. And when I woke up, they removed my left fallopian tube. So after that, that was a big wake-up call for me. As you could imagine, I nearly died because of the Pfizer vaccine. And I don't generally like to share my story, but I'm here today representing the many jab-injured victims across Australia and the millions of people. Thank you. The millions of people across the world, really, that I've been lucky enough to have survived for now, but millions of people are losing their lives. And as we know, children across Australia are being injured with disabilities, long-term disabilities. People are dying. So I'm here, standing for, my child. I'm standing for all the children here in Australia. But as well, I'm standing here for my colleagues because next week I lose my job and I will not be mandated to that 3rd booster shot. I will not be taking that, and I'm representing right now the child protection system to stand up against medical tyranny, against coercion, to stand up against control, to stand up against the New World Order, but most of all to stand up for ourselves, because we here are the strong ones. We are here on the other side trying to wake up the masses. And as much of us continue to show our faces, we're making a difference already. So I hope today that there are people out there, my work colleagues, that are going to be mandated on the 6th of April to say no, because I will not comply and either should you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Jackie. All right, guys, I'd like to call up the next speaker. You've all probably heard him speak before. Now, this gentleman here, he's been doing this when only about 10 people used to show up in a park to protest, to listen to him speak many, many years ago. My wife was actually one of them, and she went and saw him speak. I can't actually remember where, but it was a secret location. And she said, you know, you've got to hear this gentleman. And at the time, I was too consumed in my own world. And I said, oh, look, babe, you go, I'll go another time. And I've shared the stage with him many times. He set up his own party. He's a wonderful man. He's a beautiful man. Please put your hands together for Michael O'Neill from the IMOP, the founder of the IMOP party.
Thank you. And thank you to the previous speakers. And it's a wonderful thing to be here. And I'm reminded of the poet Rudyard Kipling. He said, all we have of freedom, all we use and know, this our fathers bought for us long and long ago. Long forgotten freedom, dwarfing heart and mind. This our fathers died to save, but they shall bind again. We have a crisis in our land where there are a section of our society that are completely discriminated and marginalised for no other reason than they have decided to take control of their health. And this is one of the most unbelievable situations. If we were told this years ago, we couldn't believe our world would descend into such a place. But here we are. And unfortunately, the majority of the people find that it's somehow normal. I have started a party called the Informed Medical Options Party because we believe that it's your right to be informed in all areas of medical, and you must have an option. You must have an option. This reeks of Nazism, this reeks of communism, this reeks of totalitarianism. This is wrong by every logical standard that exists in the world today. It's against God. It's against the laws of basic humanity, and yet it's considered to be a normal. It seems to be considered to be the right of the people who occupy this house, who you and I voted to be brave and to look after the interests of every single Australian. And they have failed at their job. They have abysmally failed, other than the few guys that we have seen standing here today. And we have to take off our hats and give them respect. The fact that they have stood up in that house against all that nonsense and against all the peer pressure against them. Craig Kelly, Reddick. Look, I'm going to miss someone.
It's not for parties and it's not for political move. This is a movement by the people for the people. This is not political, please.
I beg your pardon. We have a political problem, sir. We have a major political problem. And if we think that just by standing here and protesting week after week we will change their mind, we have the opportunity to be able to go into that house, to send good people into that house and stand for the rights of every Australian. Naive to think that we can just do this forever and a day. They will not change. They have proven they will not change. What is the solution? Do we do an armed insurrection? I'm not interested, because that's about all they will recognise, other than us endeavouring to vote them out and get people in there to represent your interests.
How will you unrig the rigged election, sir? How will you unrig the rigged election?
Well, you know, we actually have one of the fairest election systems as far as the counting of the votes in Australia. We do have scrutineers, every party.
Everyone else is
and
the
look,
enemy except
we
for
are
them
part
all
of an
the time.
organisation, a little alliance, a cooperative called CADCO. We had Kathy talking about it up here, which is the Great Australia Party, which is the Informed Medical Options Party, which is Australian Federation Party, and we have joined together. We're also talking with One Nation. We're talking with United Australia Party. We're talking We're talking together. We actually working. We realise there's a massive problem. No one of us can solve this problem. No one of us. But we want to work together so that we can bring some sanity and fairness into the politics of Australia. It's not a ridiculous notion. It's fair, it's right, and it's working with the instruments that we already have. Now, currently on the table, it's been introduced, they're going to have the disinformation bill. It's coming up in Parliament. I don't know if you know about it, it's just the latest thing. The misinformation and the disinformation bill. Disinformation, misinformation. What does that mean? It means that they are moving something inside there to be able to fine and penalise the likes of any social media organisation that allows what they interpret to be disinformation and misinformation. We are seeing happening all around us the greatest operation since Nazi Germany and Stalinist Russia in mind control, media control and complete propaganda of the Australian people. And we must stand up about it. And this is why I desperately want to get in there, because I would like to stand, and I will stand against all these nonsense rules. That we will align with the people that are in there. We'll align with Craig Kelly. We'll align with Malcolm Roberts, and we'll align with all the people that are in there, and we will put our voice together, and we will say, no, we vote against it. And they want to pass some crummy budget, which they're going to do today, and we will stand up and say, no, you set the people free or we will hold your budget up. You want something else, we will hold that up. We will turn the tables and hold them to ransom. It's not a dishonourable thing to do. It's a lot of work. I've been at this for 7 years and I'm not tired. I'm 65 years old. I work enormously long hours and I've got a lot of life left in me. And I want to get in there by the grace of God and by the help of the Australian people so that we can stand for right, justice, freedom and end tyranny for Australian people. God bless you all. Thank you.
Less rhetoric in that one.
All right, thank you, Michael. All right, next up, I'd like to call. She's been organising events like these for the last 12 months. She's been at this for 12 months, and she's got a very, very interesting initiative, which she started, 6 months ago? Just a few weeks ago. All right, come on, come up and tell us all about it. I think it's to do with free hugs.
Hi everyone, thank you. Can you hear me all right? Can you hear me as well as you can hear Michael? Oh, excellent. Thank you all for being here, and like Michael, I'd just like to thank all the other speakers. You're all amazing. And so I'm Fiona, I'm from Newcastle. The simple message that I do want to share with you, and some of you will have seen me popping up talking about a little project called Love Up the Lake. Okay, so it's a slightly different topic to the political topics that we've been having. So I just wanted to draw your attention to the power that everyone has within to be able to use the higher vibrations like love, peace, joy, and gratitude. Now, a couple of months ago or so, when we were camping down here on the lake, I looked at the lake. I really love water, but I looked at that lake and it looked terribly dense and sad. And I was reminded of the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto. Anyone know about Dr. Emoto's work? Some do, some don't. So, look, he's not the only one that's done these experiments with water, but he's probably the most well-known. You can look up Dr. Emoto's work with structured water. So what he found through his experiments was that words have vibration and they can change the structure of water. Just go with me on this, okay? Just go with me. So words are very powerful. I'm just trying to make this really quick, but words are very, very powerful. Some of the highest vibrating words are love, joy, and peace, and gratitude. There's others, but they're the four that kind of make the most sense to talk to the lake. Okay, so all I'm asking people to do is whenever you're in Canberra, just pop down to the lake and vibe out love, peace, joy, and gratitude. Have you got that? Let me hear it from you. Love, peace, joy, and gratitude. Excellent. Now, I'd just like you to do that again and project those vibes up there. Okay, go. Love, peace, joy, gratitude. Excellent. So, and then look, I just popped down to Officeworks and I bought a ream of paper and I've got some crayons. So at some point, I'm just going to leave them at the front of the truck and help yourself. And please write, one or all four of those words on a bit of paper. And later today, when you leave, or tomorrow, or whenever you like, just go down to the lake. And because words are important and they have a vibration and a frequency, so just go and show the lake these words and share that vibration. And I really felt called to do this little project and to nurture it. Because I believe that by changing the vibration of that lake is going to help us a lot, a big time. Do you think so? Yeah. Oh, great. Good. So thank you for listening. And just by the way, there is a Facebook group. That's not really necessary. The main thing is to go to the lake. But if you like playing in the Facebook group and take a photo, it'll be great. It's Love Up the Lake, Lake Burley Griffin. And I also, I'd just like to acknowledge that the Lake Burley Griffin is on the traditional land of the Ngunnawal people as well. So I'm practicing, I'm just learning this stuff. So thank you so much.
Oh dear. Kelly's also
Thank you, Fiona. All right, so guys, I think we're just about half time. Now, for anyone that perhaps has seen maybe one of my videos, I like a bit of a half-time speech. Now, can I get a show of hands? Because who's actually seen a half-time speech? All right, so, and there's a lot of people that haven't. And the reason why I ask that, guys, is because the reason why I'm here today, and I think a lot of people are here, is that we all are on the same side and we all agree on a few fundamental things. Now, it's no secret, and for those that have perhaps followed this journey for the last 8 months, perhaps even 12 months, that not everyone likes one another. And that sometimes personalities, egos and division creeps in. Now, make no mistake, the one thing that the enemy does very well, they know who the real enemy is. And the reason why I'm saying this to all of you is because I'm here, like a lot of these people that have been here for 2 months or 2 days or 2 minutes, that we all believe in the fundamental belief of liberty and freedom. The freedom to choose, the freedom to assemble, the freedom to love, the freedom to worship, and the freedom to decide what you put inside your body. Now, 8 months ago, I was just a teacher. I was a high school teacher at a boarding school in Sydney. I taught science, and I only got up to not even 5 years of being a teacher. Prior to that, I had a different career for 20 years. And I was a boxing and weightlifting coach, which is why I titled my first video a halftime speech, because at halftime, when the chips were down, you used to have to give the athletes or the people a bit of a rev up, a bit of a pep talk. And the mandates were about to be introduced in New South Wales for teachers. August 27th, Gladys Berejiklian, she said, teachers, educators will have to be mandated. And I got really angry. And I wasn't on any social media. I had nothing at all. But I made a video, I went into the bedroom, and my wife said, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to make a video, I'm going to call it a halftime speech. And she said, please don't, you're going to embarrass me. I said, no, I have to. I said, I'm just going to share it. I had a WhatsApp group with about 10 people. And someone in that group said, oh, Matt, can we share it to some other friends? I said, yeah, go ahead. 48 hours later, that video had over 500,000 views across all platforms. And then 24 hours after that, I got a phone call from the headmaster, Christian, that's my real name, Christian. He said, Christian, we need to have a talk. And I knew that my life and path was on a different trajectory. Now, all I've tried to do from that point on is look after my family, look after my friends, look after my children, and look after the country that I love. Now, I don't say this is my country. This is not my country. I live here. I was born here. My parents came to this country. My mother was born in the Middle East, Maltese background. My father was born in Italy. They came to this country and they taught me to love this country, no matter what. And that is what I've done ever since. I do this because I love this country. I love my family, I love my friends, and I love the people. Because the Australian spirit, well, the memory that I have, the furthest memory I have, I was a little kid, I was watching TV. It was when Australia won the America's Cup. Now, who's old enough to remember some footage of that? When they played the land down under and Bob Hawke came out and said, any boss that sacks the workers for having a day off, bum. Who remembers that? I was a young kid, but for some reason that resonated with me. And I've lived with that. And I had a hard time growing up, as I'm sure most people did. I had a hard time because I was a little fat ethnic kid. I'd go to school, I came last in everything. I came last in sports, I came last in my schoolwork. I was even last to get on the tuck shop line. I couldn't get even at the front of that. And I was this little overweight Italian kid. And all the other kids at school were fit, all the Aussies were fit. And they're always good at everything, at sports, at swimming. And I used to say to my mum, Mum, why is it that I'm fat and all the Aussie kids, Brad and Aaron, they're all skinny? And she said, son, they're sick, their parents don't feed them. So my mother was always trying to make me feel good, trying to defend me. And of course I knew they weren't sick and their parents fed them well. It's just the way it was. But I learned to be resilient. And as I grew up, I realised that life is tough. The path is tough for many people. Some people may have it easier than others. We've all got our own struggles. But I made it out of high school. I got a successful career. And then I decided to become a teacher. And that was taken from me. The choice was taken from me. Now, little did I know that the enemy that I thought I was fighting, the government and the institutions and the corporations, that amongst the movement itself, there are many, many people that want to divide us. There are many, many people that perhaps don't like the way I present myself or do my speeches. There are people that perhaps don't like you. There are people that have the same political beliefs, religious beliefs, sexual beliefs, whatever it is. 2.5 years ago, we would have disagreed on many, many things. But here today, we're agreeing on many things. And we're agreeing on the one thing, and that is the freedom to just live the way you want to live without any government interference. Now, like I said, I didn't expect the trolls, the haters, the dividers, whoever. They've been coming, and they've been coming at me, and they've been coming at you, and they're going to come for everyone. They've been coming at me for the last 8 months. But I'm still here. I still front up. I still show up, because they're going to have to do a lot better than that to stop me. And they're going to have to do a lot better than that to stop you, because this is about you. It's about all of us. Now, the point I'm getting at is people, and my wife has said to me, she said, Mac, just leave it, please. I can't take this anymore. The constant, the ridicule, the mocking, the hate, the trolls, people digging up old photos of you. Or someone found a magazine article that 12 years ago I worked for the New South Wales Police. Big whoop. 2 years I worked for New South Wales Police. I actually taught the police how to do boxing, lifting and wrestling for 2 years at Goulburn. I'm the person that you want in this fight. And you shouldn't be picking at something that I did 12 years ago and call me controlled opposition. But I honestly don't care. It's waste, it's time's waste, it wastes time. And what I'm saying to all of you is when you find that creeping in to your social media, to your comments, to your conversations, it's just time wasting. You're wasting energy on useless garbage. Now, I know that a video was put out 6-7 days ago. People told not to show up today because of potential trouble. We're here. I'm still yet to see any potential trouble. We're here because we believe in the cause, we believe in the movement. Now, this is a tough fight, and this is what I'm going to leave you with. And like when I used to train athletes or train people, you got to become battle-hardened. You got to thicken your skin. You got to broaden your shoulders. And I don't mean that necessarily physically, because there's one thing inside of you that they can't measure, and that's the size of your heart. That's the depth of your determination. That's your courage, your backbone. Now, we've all got a backbone. Some people up there don't. But the problem is that a lot of us, we don't use our backbone. We fold over when things get hard, when it gets tough. We forget we have a backbone and we start to hunch over and we give in. And then people start to comply. But what we need to do is we need to straighten up and feel that our backbone is there. Stand proud. Hold your chest up. You're all fighters. And believe you me, the greatest fighters in this world, the greatest athletes, the greatest premiership winning teams, they all felt like giving up many times. But the difference is they'd get up in the morning, they'd look in the mirror and they'd say, today's not the day to give up. Today's not that day, because the moment you say to yourself, I give up, is the moment they win. And is the moment they get one over us. Now, we may be called protesters, extremists, conspiracy theorists, nut jobs, anti-vaxxers, whatever it is that they want to call us. Let them call us that. It doesn't matter. And your friends and your family, they may mock you as well. But make no mistake, the reason why we are no longer in the hardcore lockdowns, we don't have the mask mandates or the QR codes, is because of you holding the line, standing the ground, showing up to these rallies. If there's 10 people, 10,000 people, or on the 12th of February, where I'm sure there was at least 500,000 people, it is because of you. So next time someone comes up to you and says, why are you still protesting? It's over. We've got our freedoms back. They got their freedoms back not because they complied and listened to the government. They got their freedoms back because you kept showing up. And you must never forget that. So when you feel like giving up, and you feel down, and you feel you can't go on any further, and you think it's over, say to yourself, it is because of me that we have now what we have, because if we didn't stand up, believe you me, we would have been perhaps in another lockdown for the 7th variant of whatever. We would have been up to our 5th booster. We would have had masks for life and all the rest of it. But you continued to show up. And that's what we need, people to continue to show up. Half your effort, 50% of your effort is to just show up. So please, it's not over.
We were on the front lines every day.
There we go. Okay, so I'm going to answer this question. Someone has just said to me, I left. They were on the front line every day. You were, and I've thanked you for that. But it's none of my business if you can be here for 12 weeks or 12 days or 12 hours, because people have got other things to attend to. It's none of my business to call people out and say, why weren't you here for the whole time? You left. Of course I left. I've got a wife and 2 children, and I've got to pay the bills. Of course I left. But I come back, I show up. And the people that can stay, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But when you stand there and point the finger and say, but you left, that is exactly what they want. That is exactly what they love. And these are the type of troublemakers and agitators that people talk about. We don't need that division. I left, yes, and so did everyone else. And if you left, it's none of my business why you left.
We have to win this now.
We
have to win this now, not in fucking 6 weeks. Not once every month. Every day. Every single. This is our freedom. This is our freedom.
Okay, so
So what if you had to do it? But you encouraged everyone to do it.
okay, so
You encouraged everyone
So-
to leave. We needed the
can someone find any footage? Can you find, because now you're making an accusation. What I'd like you to do is find the footage where me, Christian Mac, actually said to everyone, leave and come back on the 29th. You won't find it. You know why? Because I never said it. I never said it. And you know what I'd say? What I've always said? Be where you can be. Do what you can do. No one can judge you for that. If it's one day,
the result of
1
the talk
month,
of Bossy
1 year,
and
be where you can be. It is not up to me to criticise. So we have someone here criticising me because I left and I came back.
for months.
Everyone has their own circumstances to deal with in life. Everyone has their own circumstances. You have families to feed, bills to pay.
People in there who are very sensible.
So
and don't
don't ever fall for this nonsense. Don't ever fall for this division. We're bigger than that. We're better than that.
You don't have to justify yourself, mate.
Please. Oh, don't worry. I won't give this another thought when I get off this stage. Please. Rise above the garbage. Rise above it. What the hell has happened to this country where we have a cry and a sook over all this little petty nonsense? We are better than that, Australia. Where is our fighting spirit? We were known for our fighting spirit, our courage, our comebacks. And because someone said one thing, we've been holding on to that since the 12th of February. We've been holding on to, someone said, come back on the 29th, since the 12th of February. Let go of that. There are other burdens to carry. So please. I don't want to interject, but anyway, Australia, I love you all. For God's sake, pick up your shields and swords and then give them another inch. I'm going to hand it over to these guys now. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. No, sorry, but listen. No, it's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. Please, don't work anyone. Don't give accolades to anyone. Please, we don't want followers. We want fighters. This is why we're in this mess. Please. I want to hand it over to one of these other legends. I've said enough.
Thanks, Mac. I'd like to think that musical introduction was for me, but Mac was the boxing coach, so I think it was his walk-off. But no, look, my name is Steve. I stand here today not defined by my job. I had a speech prepared, but there's been a lot of people talking today, so firstly I just want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank you for your patience, and I just want to share a couple of thoughts, a couple of stories. Okay, I've been a firefighter for 22 years. That's my job, that's my profession. Before that I was a high school teacher. For 30 years I've been a PE teacher and a firefighter, but I'm also a father. I'm also a grandfather. I'm also a husband. I'm a brother. I'm a nephew. And I'm a friend. And you know what? I've met so many incredible people. I got a friend who's a firefighter. His name's Tony Camilleri. And he's one of the most courageous firefighters I've ever met. He comes to all the rallies. He's been arrested once. And guess what? He's broken down in his van 125 kilometres from Canberra. and he was going to be here today. But you know, Tony says something to me. He says something to all the firefighters. He says, today I'm going to make whatever's happened to me turn into the best thing that's happened in my life. And you know, some of the people that I've met through this whole adverse experience have become some of the best friends that I've had. You know, you can have people that you've lived with for 25 years and have the most superficial relationships, and then you can come together with like-minded people and feel like you are with the people who are kindred spirits to you. I don't know if you feel that, but I certainly do. And to you people I call family, and I don't say that lightly. And I'm standing here with my brothers and sisters in the emergency services on the front line, and that means something. You know, Clint, who's a military veteran, he talks about integrity. And integrity is probably the most important thing we've got, because integrity is not coming out of the people that are trying to force us to do things. But I just want to get to the story, okay? Something that really touched me. So often we are preaching to the converted. Many, many months ago, I went to a rally in Sydney, a protest rally, and I had on this shirt, the Australian Firefighters Alliance shirt, and I had on my turnout pants, so there was no doubt the fact that I was representing firefighters. And I was walking down Hyde Park, and I looked across at the police that were standing there, lining the sidewalks. And I thought, I'm just going to go over and say something. There was a young female police officer who was standing there, and I went over and I smiled and I said, hey, why don't you come and join us today? Why don't you come and join us? And you know what? She looked at me and she said, I'd like to, but I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my job. So tell me, where is the health reason for the vaccine mandates? You've got police, and with all due respect, all the police officers here behind us, they do a great job. I worked side by side with them for 22 years. But guess what, guys? You're all wearing masks. For goodness sake. Firefighters, we tested the oxygen concentration under the mask. It went into alarm at 17.1%. In firefighting industry, if you get into an area where the oxygen concentration drops that low, you're supposed to get out. You're supposed to get out to fresh air. So who's telling you to wear the masks? And why are you wearing them? It's not your fault, but it's all about compliance. So why do you keep complying with something that clearly is not for your benefit? I'm not trying to have a go at the police or anyone who wants to respect authority. I'm saying that there comes a point where you have to put your health, the health of your family, the health of your children before a mandate that's simply telling you, if you don't do what I say, you lose your job. Where is the love? Where is the compassion in that? Where is the common sense? There is no common sense in that. So to the emergency service workers out there who give of everything they have to protect the community, I say to you, don't just blindly go along with things that clearly have no logical reason. Stand up for your own integrity. I'm standing here today as a firefighter who was stood down because I wanted to stand up for my right to medical autonomy, to protect my children, my family from an adversity that they didn't need to experience. Respectfully to my fellow emergency services workers who are lined across the front of Parliament House today, I encourage you to do the same. Find the courage. Courage does not come from the uniform you're wearing. Yeah, okay, I can put a firefighter's uniform on and go into a burning building. That doesn't make me courageous. Courage comes from what's inside your heart. It comes from your ability to say no when everyone else around you is saying yes. It comes from your ability to say, guess what? I appreciate the fact that I can breathe oxygen and I'm not going to wear a mask. Thank you very much. It comes from the fact that a firefighter in Florida stood up to his superiors and said, guess what? I am not going to put these firefighters on paper because they've got to valid exemption. And if you want to sack me, you sack me. But I'm going to stand up for what is right. We get more police officers, more emergency service workers, more military standing up for what is right, then that will equally turn the tide on what's going on. Thank you for your time.
Those who will never take the fall, we call them weak, who are unable to resist the slightest chance love might exist. And for that forsake it all. We're so hell-bent on giving, walking a wire, convinced it's not living if you stand outside the fire. Standing outside the
Good everybody. My name's Steve Kelly, and for those that don't know me, I was in the New South Wales Police for 28 years.
There are a lot more streamers here now, so I'm sure you can find another stream
also in the New South Wales Police for 31 years.
to watch while
And
I make my coffee.
Adopt everything that Steve McDonald's just said in relation to having courage. I think it's one of the most important attributes that we
I will
can have
talk
in
to
these
y'all
very
shortly.
difficult times that we're living in now. Unlike the others, I prefer to sort of